It began as a whisper, an app most of the world had never heard of. Born not in Silicon Valley, but in Beijing. Within just a few years, it wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a roar. 1 billion people scrolling, swiping, laughing, learning, addicted. Its name? TikTok. A short-form video platform that turned teenagers into celebrities, unknown songs into global hits, and memes into cultural revolutions. But beneath the viral dances and comedy skits lies a deeper story. A story of algorithms, of ambition, of a company bold enough to challenge Silicon Valley on its own turf. This is the cinematic rise of TikTok. How an app conquered 1 billion users and maybe the future itself. It all began with a man named Zhang Yiming. Zhang wasn't a celebrity. He wasn't even a particularly well-known entrepreneur. Born in 1983 in Fujian, China, he was quiet, studious, the kind of man you might pass in the street and never notice. But he had a gift, a way of seeing patterns where others saw noise. He studied microelectronics, then software engineering. After college, he bounced between jobs at early Chinese tech companies, watching, learning, absorbing. By 2012, he decided to build something of his own. At the time, China's internet was messy, flooded with low-quality content. News portals pushed propaganda. Forums felt outdated. And the rise of smartphones left an opening no one had filled. Zhang saw it. He believed the future of media wasn't about editors choosing stories, it was about algorithms. That year, he founded ByteDance. His vision was simple but radical. Use artificial intelligence to feed people exactly what they wanted to see, even before they knew they wanted it. The first experiment was a news app called Todio, meaning headlines. Instead of showing the same news to everyone, Todio learned your habits, what you clicked, what you ignored, how long your eyes lingered on a headline before scrolling. It was like the app could read your mind. Millions in China downloaded it. Soon, ByteDance was valued in the billions. But Zhang wasn't satisfied, because he had noticed something else. A rising generation wasn't reading news at all. They weren't typing status updates. They weren't writing blogs. They were performing. Across Asia, apps like Vine and Musical.ly were proving something powerful. Young people craved a new kind of stage, a stage that fit in their pocket, a stage where anyone, anywhere could be the star. Zhang knew ByteDance could build that stage better than anyone. And with that vision, TikTok's story began. In 2016, ByteDance quietly released a new app in China. They called it Douyin, meaning shaking sound. The idea was deceptively simple. Short, looping videos set to music. But beneath the surface, something powerful was at work. An algorithm. Not just any algorithm. One that didn't care if you were famous, rich, or connected. If you posted a video, TikTok tested it. A small group of viewers would see it. If they watched to the end, liked or shared, the app showed it to more. And more. And more. It wasn't a social network. It was a spotlight. A stage where the algorithm, not your follower count, decided whether you would shine. In a world where Instagram and Facebook rewarded the already famous, Douyin whispered a dangerous promise. Anyone can go viral. And in China, millions did. Within a year, Douyin was a sensation. But Zhang Yiming had bigger ambitions. He didn't want a Chinese hit. He wanted a global empire. There was just one problem. Conquering the West meant breaking into the hardest market in the world, the United States. And in America, a scrappy little app called Musical.ly had already won the hearts of teenagers. Musical.ly was built around lip syncing to popular songs. It was fun, goofy, incredibly viral. Kids in Los Angeles, London, Sao Paulo, they were recording themselves mouthing lyrics, adding jump cuts, sharing them with friends. By 2017, it had 200 million users. ByteDance saw its opportunity. In 2018, they bought Musical.ly for nearly $1 billion and merged it with Douyin's international twin, TikTok. Almost overnight, TikTok exploded onto the global stage. But it wasn't just the merger. It was the algorithm. Unlike YouTube, which asked you to search for videos, or Instagram that showed you posts from friends, TikTok threw you straight into the fire. One swipe, and you were hooked. A cooking hack, a joke, a dance, a song you'd never heard before, now stuck in your head forever. Every second you lingered, every time you replayed, the app learned. It built a mirror of your mind and fed it back to you in endless, addictive doses. TikTok wasn't just competing with Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat. It was reprogramming how we consumed culture itself. By 2019, TikTok wasn't just an app. It was a movement. Songs rocketed up the Billboard charts because of TikTok dances. Strangers became celebrities overnight. Millions of teenagers spent more time on TikTok than on television. And Silicon Valley was stunned. By 2020, TikTok was no longer a rising star. It was a supernova. It spread across continents like wildfire. From American suburbs to Indian villages, from Nigerian cities to European capitals. 1 billion downloads came faster than anyone thought possible. And with every download came something stranger, something deeper. TikTok wasn't just an app people used. It was a place people lived. Scroll for a minute, and you might laugh at a joke from a kid in Kansas. Scroll again, and you're mesmerized by a dancer in Lagos. Scroll once more, and you're crying with a mother in Manila telling her story. TikTok collapsed geography. It collapsed fame. It collapsed the very idea of mainstream. For decades, culture had been top-down. Record labels, TV networks, Hollywood studios, they decided what we saw, what we heard, what became popular. TikTok flipped it upside down. A teenager in their bedroom could now create the world's next dance craze. A single clip could launch a song to #1 on Billboard without ever touching radio. A random creator could outshine celebrities with millions of followers. For the first time in history, the gatekeepers had lost control. And this terrified them. Instagram scrambled to copy TikTok with Reels. YouTube rushed out Shorts. Even Facebook, the king of social networks, was suddenly fighting to keep teenagers from leaving. But while Silicon Valley panicked, TikTok thrived. Then in 2020, something happened no one predicted. The world stopped. The pandemic locked billions of people in their homes. Fear, isolation, uncertainty. Humanity was cut off from its normal rhythms. And in that silence, TikTok became a lifeline. Suddenly, it wasn't just teenagers dancing. It was nurses sharing stories from hospitals, teachers making lessons go viral, families connecting through skits, pranks, and laughter when they couldn't leave their living rooms. TikTok wasn't just entertainment anymore, it was survival. And while Facebook fought misinformation, while Twitter drowned in political battles, TikTok felt like something different. Something lighter. Something alive. The world was scared. TikTok made it dance. By the end of 2020, TikTok wasn't just popular, it was the most downloaded app on Earth. A cultural heartbeat, a global stage. And behind it all, ByteDance's algorithm grew sharper, hungrier, more addictive. But with power comes questions. Where was all this data going? What influence did TikTok really have on billions of minds? And what did governments think of a Chinese app suddenly controlling the world's attention? The storm was coming. By 2020, TikTok wasn't just an app. It was a global force. 1 billion users, 1 billion voices, and that kind of influence never goes unnoticed.